How are you? How's it? How's everybody doing today? ¿Cómo estás? Can you guys hear the cat? Are you singing? Are you singing, kitty? Oh, go check your bowl. You have chow. She's singing the empty dinner dish bowl song that she likes to sing. She likes to convince me that, likes to try to convince me that there's no kibble there. In fact, there is. There's kitty food in your bowl. Go look. Hello, Mia. Welcome in. I'm live streaming. You can help. I'm not sure you can help. You don't have thumbs. All right. A little bit. You can see the top of her head. £8 of pure trouble. I think so. I adopted her from a local shelter. And she was quite wild when she first came. It took her about 2 years before she would even get on my lap. And now she's in the middle of everything all the time. Yes. No, don't. Come here, buddy. Come here. You're going to knock the phone over. There we go. Thank you for your help. Hang on a second. There we go. Sorry. You will be We don't talk about things like that on this channel. Hi, Muffin. So, do you guys do art? Tell me what kind of arts and crafts you like to do. Hi, Kelly. It's good to see you. It's nice to see a friendly face in here. I know that Friday night marathon really kind of takes it out of me. And then the schedule has been a little bit odd. You know, we always try to come on and not step on anybody's toes. And then I'm trying to coordinate. There's so many time zones for people that like to stop in and see what's going on. We get folks in Norway that are 9 hours away, and folks in the UK that are 8 hours away, and you're three. Are you 3 hours or 4 hours away? I think it depends on if we're in daylight savings time or not. Just 4 hours, right? Because you're just strictly East Coast, right? And I'm West Coast. All right, let's put a little contouring in this. You're getting pretty close to time to pack for that cruise, aren't you, Kelly? I was thinking about. I was just wondering, where in the world are you going to find swimsuits this time of year? Out here, like everything gets sold out by June, so. It's not my favorite thing. I think I think I'd do it like once every 10 years. Once every 10 years, whether I need a new swimsuit or not. Oh, give him a minute. He'll blow over. He always seems to. Bet he's just grumpy that he's not going along. So sometimes the watercolor pencil is a little, if it drags a bit on the surface, I'll spray it, get it a little bit, just a little bit damp, and the pencil goes on a lot more smoothly. Hmm. Well, I realize your situation is a little bit different than mine, but I don't think we've ever really talked about this. I'm a 26-year survivor of a bone tumor that broke my left femur. And that was pretty gnarly, but I'm here, so, you know. That must be a happy ending to the story, right? And from the time when it broke to the time they did the surgery was about 3 weeks, because the surgeon, well, it's kind of a long story. I got taken to, it broke, my leg broke, I went to the local hospital. They took a look and they said, we can't do anything unless you want to have an amputation. We can help you with that. And I said, no, thank you. I'm 37. That doesn't sound like a good idea. And they said, well, we can find another orthopedic oncologist, someone who specializes in what they called limb reconstruction surgery. And I said, yes, please, let's do that. And so it took them about a week to find somebody, and they did at another regional hospital and transported me to that hospital. And when I got there, and met the orthopedic oncologist, she was a real delight. I think sometimes people that are have specialties like that, they're really great at what they do, but they're not necessarily really terrific with their bedside manner. And she made a diagnosis, which turned out to be incorrect, and I looked at the lab report because that's the kind of patient I am, and I saw where the pathologist said, this doesn't look like osteosarcoma, it looks like it could be something else, and I think we should rule out this other kind of weird tumor. And the orthopedic oncologist kind of went, well, that never happens, I've never seen it, and so we need to proceed in this way. And I said, I want a biopsy, another biopsy, because this one is inconclusive and I'm not going to let you amputate my leg without a conclusive biopsy. That seemed very reasonable to me. So we got in a battle of wills for about 3 weeks, and I'm laying in a hospital bed with this broken femur, and she's trying to get me to sign a consent form to amputate my leg, and I'm refusing, and I'm on stupid amounts of morphine, so everybody around me is just going, well, you're just really loaded on morphine, and we don't trust you to make decisions. And I just dug in my one good heel and my one wimpy heel and said, no. And she eventually did another biopsy. They sent it off to a hospital in Minnesota, and it came back negative for osteosarcoma and positive for this weird type of tumor called a giant cell tumor that just, there's 50 cases a year in the world. Like, it's very, very rare. And because that is a really more slow-growing tumor, it meant that I was a good candidate for limb reconstruction. And so I finally got my way, and they did the surgery, and it was like 13-hour surgery, crazy long surgery, but they were able to build the bone back up around the area where it kind of got blown out by the tumor. It just destroyed a big part of the bone, so they did rebuild it, and I kept my leg, and I have this glorious surgical scar that goes from just kind of a ways below my hip. It goes all the way down and around my knee. And I thought I would be kind of hesitant about it or self-conscious about it, but I look at that thing, and I'll tell you, I wear shorts all summer. Every once in a while somebody will point it out. It's really faded a lot in the last 10 years. But to me, that's where I survived something that was trying to kill me, and a doctor who was writing me off. And I've met other people who've survived these kinds of things, and if we can come to look at our battle wounds as places where life didn't kill us, you know. I don't know how to tell you how to get there, but I have yet to meet a person who has given me a hard time once I've said, yeah, I do have a big scar down my leg. That's where I survived a weird tumor. And check it out. I've got my leg. I can walk. And isn't that, like, that's the best of all possible news. So, I don't know. I guess if you're gonna feel self-conscious, get some, maybe get some of those spandex tights. Like, some swimmers wear a full bodysuit, and those, like, they protect you from sunburn too. So, like, that might help. Might help you feel a little more confident. But also know that, you know, that's where you made it through. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah. Well, now I think also you can buy oh, what do they call those? Like the modest bathing suits that Muslim women wear. Those are like full coverage down to the ankles too. And I used to do a lot of snorkeling and scuba diving in rivers and lakes, um, and we would use those like when it was warm weather instead of a wetsuit, because the neoprene's kind of, it's stinky and kind of gross. But that like spandex runner's tights, that would work. And I bet you could find some like in like a pretty floral print or something that was kind of a cheery color. Mm. Oh, Kelly, right before you came in, there was somebody who was saying some really obnoxious things in chat. I had to block my first troll. Like, really? Did you really have to be that way? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, and I kind of expected the "Hey, old lady hands" comment because hands, old lady. But I wasn't really ready for somebody to be in here talking about things that explode. Like, really? I'm doing nothing about this channel. But I guess it's the way of the world today. So, are you gonna do some polymer clay this morning? Can I imagine 5 minutes being a troll? Well, yeah, I've been obnoxious online, but usually it's on point, and and I'm never obnoxious just for the sake of being obnoxious. Usually it's just there's a difference of opinion, and half the people don't want to hear what I have to say. I guess that's not really trolling. It just sometimes it feels like there's a lot of unsupervised children running around on YouTube, and I don't know. Parents just turn their kids loose with smartphones and then don't pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying. And, kids have got so much energy, it's got to be hard to keep up with them. All the stuff, all the trouble they could get into. Oh, good. I used to, back when I was married to a Jehovah's Witness, they talk about end times a lot. I mean, they had to recalculate after. They were pretty sure that 1974 was going to be the rapture. And then 74 came and went, and they had to recalculate. They've been doing a lot of recalculating, but it was one thing that I really didn't relate to the way that they kind of look over their shoulder all the time, and they're always listening for hoofbeats, I used to say. Like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, where just down the block. I don't know if we'd recognize it when it came anyway. Okay. I might fuss a bit with that later after it dries down. Come back in and add more darks. But that's probably pretty good for now. Well, I don't know. Yeah, their Watchtower Society does come up with quite a lot of predictions, and I will say, like, I watched my in-laws just live like, they live like the end times are just right around the corner, and there's a bit of sadness to that. Like, I can remember talking to my mother-in-law about grandkids, and she would say that she just didn't know how long they would live because, you know, the rapture was going to be. Well, I don't remember if rapture was exactly the word she used. She would talk about end times quite a lot. And you know, she'd buy a garment and she'd say, well, I don't know how long I'll need this dress. You know, like, it just seemed to permeate all of her thinking. And it didn't seem like there was very much joy in her life. Alrighty, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here unless anybody's got any questions. I'm going to thank everybody who stopped in and spent some time doodling a few pebbles on a little piece of paper. And I hope that you will take some time to make some art, engage in some crafts. Ooh, we have somebody in here that I don't see, Kelly. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. What is this craft? Hello, Dan. This is a mindfulness exercise to just spend some time paying attention to the here and now. And the way I do that is to take a blank piece of paper, put various washes of watercolor on that piece of paper, and build up the layers with different colors and different shapes until some forms look like they might be found. Like in this one, I see a circular shape here and here and here. And then I take a pigment pen, which doesn't react to water, and I begin to just outline those shapes. And the idea is to be mindful, and I try to keep my attention right where the tip of the pen touches the paper. So it goes a little something like this. 5 minutes a day of being mindful can really help you calm. And it'll improve your focus, improves your well-being. So that's all I do. Try not to worry, try not to think about things in the past, try not to plan out things in the future. Just try to be right here at the end of that pen, just like that, for 5 minutes. Exactly like finding, Dan says, it's kind of like finding shapes in clouds. It's exactly like that. It is exactly like that. Well, if you guys want to hang out, we got a few people in here. I'll start another one. That's all mindfulness is, really, is just trying to stay in the here and now, try to be grounded in the moment that you find yourself in. There's no amount of thinking about things that happened in the past that can change what happened, really. And there's very little worry can do to improve or to prepare us for what's to come. And worrying is a bit different than strategizing or planning. Those activities are quite useful, but worrying is not particularly useful. So just 5 minutes a day of just trying to be where you are, when you are, here and now. It's very beneficial. Now, the reason I like to use a pen that is waterproof, water resistant, is that when I do the next step of this, which I'll drop in some shadows and I'll paint in some highlights, I use a water-based media, and so I don't want the pen to run. So if you don't want to go out and hunt down a fancy archival ink pen like this, you might just have a Sharpie around. That'll work too. I'm trying to go live 2 or 3 times a week, and I do have some lives and some videos uploaded on my page, so you can go back and have a gander at those. On my community page are some posts that link to some longer format live feeds of about 2 hours that I did live streaming with my friend Maya, who is in Norway. And she's working on watercolor painting while I am working on the Pebble illustrations. And in those longer format, you get a look at the way I prepare the little squares. I'm also working in a larger format, in an 8x8 format for some of them. And I've been working on these since late June. I started to work on this design. So it's looking pretty smooth here, but it didn't take very many weeks to get fairly proficient at being able to outline these shapes. The first ones were nowhere near as smooth, but you have to bear in mind with this that the value of it is in the doing of it. It's not in the product that gets, it's not necessarily in the drawing that gets produced. It's in sitting down and putting the pen to the paper. That's the benefit of this. That's the real value of it. I don't know. I don't know what if there's. I assume there's some value in watching it. I've looked back on these to edit some of them for shorts, and I've thought, oh, it's almost as fun to watch as it is to do. So I I genuinely hope that it is giving some value to the folks that are watching me do this. I think one of the keys to the benefit of it is to find a repetitive motion, like these circles, circular shapes. You know, whatever you draw, you might be more inclined to draw triangles or squares or rectangles or squiggles. But whatever it is that you draw, whatever loops, you know, if you're not sure where to start, you might look at your handwriting and look at the loops of your E's or your L's. Like that's a shape that can be repeated. But the repetitive motion helps to our brain to slow down and to replenish our neurotransmitters that can be drained through stress and just the hustle and bustle of work or whatever the daily demands that we have to face. Oh, Dan K., thank you very much. I really appreciate that. This is, most of my content is this. There's a few, there's a few other things, trains and helicopters and just little shorts with stuff that I see when I'm out and about. But it's mostly this. And I'm pretty new at this. I've just been at it a couple of months, and of course, like anytime we start something new, we can have some trepidation about, is this the topic? Is this the direction we want to go? And I'm probably always going to have some kind of a drawing. I don't know if it'll continue to be pebbles, because I think most of the time I'm working with art, things evolve. So I expect that this will evolve. But the voice isn't going to change because that's the one I've got. So we're all stuck with it. And you're just never sure, are you, when you start a new thing? And I knew that this was very helpful for me, and I've had some really good feedback from people that they've given it a try and they've really enjoyed themselves doing it. So like anytime I can encourage people to engage with some art or craft or just be creative, I think it's so good for us. And I genuinely believe that every human we've got creativity within us, but so many people have never found their medium, meaning they might have tried drawing and been frustrated, or they might have tried painting. And, maybe if you're a sculptor and you're trying to do two-dimensional art, maybe that's not for you. And maybe fine art's not where it's at. Maybe a craft like knitting or crochet or quilting or, making birdhouses. Anything you do with your hands. It is the work that comes from that creative place inside all of us. I really believe that it's just a matter of finding the thing that you really are able to kind of lose yourself in. I've seen people who are, their creativity is cooking. And you put them in a kitchen and they lose track of time. They can bake a perfect pie, but, for them, that's where it's at. But there's so many different things to do, so many different craft kits you can try, and one of the things I love to watch people tie flies for fly fishing. I tried to do that one time. I just kind of tied my finger to a fish hook. It just didn't work, but it's really an art form, that. Thank you, Dan. No, it wasn't the sharp end, Kelly. It was the end with the eye. Just had like a feather and a piece of thread. It was just all tangled up, and the fellow who was trying to show me how to do it, he was kind of like a grandfatherly type, and he was trying to encourage me, but you could tell that was not my jam. Alrighty. I can always find like one more pebble. Well, there we go. I guess we get a 2 for tonight. And again, thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the likes, and I sure appreciate the subscription. So if this is something you enjoyed, I hope to see you on another video. Have a great evening, everybody. Good night.